ago, President Trump tweeting a new reaction to those DOJ indictments. These Russians, this is what the president tweeted. He says, these Russian individuals did their work during the Obama years. Why didn't Obama do something about it? Because he thought crooked Hillary Clinton would win. That's why. It had nothing to do with the Trump administration. But fake news doesn't want to report the truth as usual. Hans von Spakovsky joins us now. He's a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former Justice Department official. Good to have you here, Hans. First of all, what's behind the president's tweet?
Well, look, the key thing to point out is that apparently from the indictment, we know that the Obama administration discovered this in 2016 before the election. The real question here is why didn't they take immediate action in a counterintelligence operation to not only warn everyone involved in the political campaign of what was going on, but take steps to prevent this from happening? And there's really been no explanation of that.
Well, I'm going to move on. There was an explanation, but we're going to keep going. Is there anything, Hans, in this report that can be denied or dismissed as inconsequential, incorrect, overblown, or somehow politically driven?
Well, we don't really know because, remember, it's an indictment, so it's simply charges leveled by the government. They don't have to produce any evidence. These folks are never going to be indicted, so we're never going to get a case actually proven in court. The key thing, I think, for people to remember is that while we certainly should be concerned about Russians engaging in this kind of activities, what the GRU and the KGB have done is no different than what they did throughout the entire Cold War, you know, engaging in disinformation campaigns.
But now isn't it a little bit different now because you've got social media, you've got emails, you've got a whole lot more ways to get directly to people, which is what they did. They really did some micro-targeting. It's a big difference.
There's no question the technology makes it more effective. But if you look at the history of the Cold War and some of the disinformation campaigns they ran, including feeding information to major publications like the New York Times.
I get your point. So you're saying business as usual, no kind of big deal. But here he asks, do these indictments indicate that the Mueller investigation is coming to an end, or is it picking up steam?
Well, it's important to keep in mind that in all of the indictments, these indictments and the prior indictments, they're indictments of Russian intelligence operatives. There's absolutely no evidence, including in these indictments, that there was any collusion between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. And that's supposed to be the purpose of the Mueller campaign. If they really want to go after Russian intelligence operatives, then they ought to be running a counterintelligence operation, not engaging in a law enforcement investigation like this one.
Understood. And by the way, you've got a lot of viewers who are very concerned about Russia having meddled, regardless of who it may or may not have been in favor of. And that's why sometimes the casual reaction to, well, you know, they did it back then, they'll do it now, they'll keep doing it. That's why that's a little bit alarming that there's such casual reaction to this.
No, it's not a casual reaction. It's just that nobody should be surprised about it. No, we should have a serious reaction to it. But it's also important to keep in mind that what they did was they exposed, the inner workings of the DNC and the Hillary campaign. But it's important to keep in mind, they didn't hack any voting machines. They didn't hack any computers that were counting ballots. They didn't in any way affect the actual casting of ballots or the counting of ballots or the integrity of the election itself. That was not compromised. They were trying to run an influence operation, and that's something we need to try to stop. But it didn't change the outcome of the election.
If there's something, you said this is something we need to stop. If the Trump administration does not come down hard on Russia with fierce and consequential punishment, what does that do, Hans, to the importance of such detailed counterintelligence investigative work there? And is there any national security jeopardy at play?
Well, look, there's always national security issues when foreign governments try to hack into American government facilities, in political party facilities, and often in the commercial area going after companies, too. That's a constant war that our intelligence agencies have to fight. Look, we have similar problems with China, which has a huge hacking operation that they use to go after Americans. So there's a lot we need to do about this. But
no real specific in terms of what should be done about Russia. Quickly, should the President Trump, meet with President Putin? Yes or no? I got to go.
I don't really have an answer to that, but I think he's already said that he is going to confront Putin over it, although the Russians obviously are denying that they had anything to do with this.
All right, Hans, we'll keep talking about it again. We really appreciate your perspective on this. Thanks, Hans.
Thank you.
Yep. Eric?
And Arthel, meanwhile, ahead of there's new reaction ahead of President Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin on Monday. You know, not all lawmakers